Maybe that felt a little epic, but the truth is, every mission starts the same way, with an idea that has to be transformed into reality. The transformation from conception to completion is the acquisition lifecycle. In this video, I'm pulling the lens back to look at the bigger picture. This isn't a deep dive into each step in isolation, but a view from the cosmos, looking down at the entire process as a whole. I'm sure you've heard of the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Well, think of this as the mission partner's guide to the acquisition process. And if you're thinking you already know all the answers, here's a little secret. The answer is not 42, or even far part 42 for that matter. From cradle to grave, I'm breaking it down so you can see how the government turns your requirement into real-world capability. So let's get started. Welcome to Acquisition Pro Tips, a channel where we seek to demystify and break down the essentials of government contracting, so you can navigate the process with confidence. I'm Josh, a warranted government contracting officer, and as already previously mentioned, today's episode is all about the acquisition lifecycle. From cradle to grave, I'm covering the beginnings of the requirement to the final phases of every contract's lifecycle, the closeout, and everything in between. If this is your introduction to the channel, you picked the perfect place to start, because it doesn't get more fundamental than this. Over the past few months, I've been focused on creating mission partner-centric videos that help you work with contracting, build and submit requirements packages, and understand what contracting does and how your role fits into the process. Throughout this video, I'll reference other episodes that delved deeper into specific steps of the acquisition lifecycle. So if there's an area you want more detail on, I encourage you to check out those after this one is done. And if you find this video useful and you want to support the channel, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. It genuinely helps the channel and supports what I'm trying to do for the contracting community as a whole. Phase 1, the requirement. Everything starts with a requirement. A requirement is simply a clearly identified mission need. At an Air Force base, this comes from the mission partner or end user. Things like civil engineering, logistics, communications, medical, and many others. They are the ones experiencing the problem. In everyday life, this is the moment you realize you need something. Say like a car to get to work, or a cleaning service to maintain your home, or something like a contractor to fix a leaking roof. You're not really buying anything yet. You are defining the problem you are trying to solve. If the need is unclear here, every step that follows becomes harder. Once the need is identified, the next step is understanding what options exist. Phase 2 is market research. Market research is a shared effort between contracting and the mission partner. This is where the government looks outward to industry. For commodities, this is like buying a car. You compare models, features, prices, and availability. For services, it's like hiring a landscaper. You look at experience, reputation through past performance, and how the work is actually performed. And for construction, it's like planning a home renovation. You research contractors, materials, timelines, and realistic costs. Most people already do this naturally. The government is doing the same thing, just at a larger scale. Market research keeps expectations grounded in reality, and it's also captured in the market research report. Once the team understands the market, the next question is whether the requirement can actually move forward. Phase 3, funding. Funding is what turns a requirement into a real acquisition. Before the government can move forward, it has to answer a basic question. Do we have enough money to do this? And does that number make sense? This is where the Independent Government Cost Estimate, or IGCE, comes in. The IGCE is an estimate of what the government reasonably expects the requirement to cost. It is typically built by the mission partner, often with help from subject matter experts, historical data, and input from contracting. Think of it like this. Before you buy a car, hire a service, or start a home renovation, you usually have a rough idea of what it should cost. You may look at online prices, past bills, or contractor estimates. That's essentially what the IGCE does for the government. The IGCE helps in two important ways. First, it helps the mission partner and finance team determine how much funding needs to be requested and set aside. Second, it gives contracting a baseline to understand whether prices received later are reasonable. The IGCE is not a quote from industry, and it's not a promise of what the contract will cost. It's a planning tool that helps shape the funding decision and keeps expectations realistic. Once the funding is aligned with the requirement and supported by the IGCE, the acquisition is ready to move forward. Phase 4, the solicitation. The solicitation is led by contracting. This is the government's formal request to industry. In everyday terms, it's like asking for quotes. For your car, you contact multiple dealerships. For services, you request proposals from providers. For construction, you send drawings and ask contractors to bid. Everyone gets the exact same information. Everyone competes under the same rules. This step ensures fairness, transparency, and competition. Once responses are received, it's time to evaluate quotes and award the contract. The solicitation, evaluation, and award process are all outlined in FAR Part 13, keeping things simple and streamlined. And speaking of evaluation and award, let's get into that now. Phase 5, evaluation and award. Evaluation is a team effort. Contracting manages the process, while mission partners and subject matter experts evaluate technical and performance aspects. Just like buying a car, the cheapest option isn't always the best one. You may pay more for reliability, experience, or lower long-term risk. Once the decision is made using the steps outlined in the Federal Acquisition Regulation, contracting awards the contract. Now, this often feels like the finish line, but it's really the transition from planning to execution. Now the focus shifts to performance. Phase 6, contract administration. Contract administration is where the work actually happens. Think about owning the car you just bought, managing the service provider you just hired, or overseeing the contractor working on your home. Someone has to ensure the work is done as agreed. In government contracting, this involves contracting, the mission partner, and often a contracting officer's representative, or CORE. Performance is monitored, invoices are received, changes are managed, and this is where good planning actually pays off, and poor planning becomes pretty visible. Once the work is complete, the life cycle reaches its final step. Phase 7, contract closeout. Closeout is the official end of the contract. In real life, this is making the final car payment or signing off on a completed home project. The work is finally done. The bills are paid. Everything is formally closed. For the government, contracting, finance, and the mission partner confirm that nothing remains outstanding. Closeout ensures accountability and clears the way for the next requirement. Now, you may have noticed I haven't covered the closeout in a dedicated video yet, but videos such as that are coming. After the holidays, I'll be shifting my focus by producing videos with more contracting professional-centered tips and deeper dives into topics such as those. And that's pretty much all there is in a nutshell. From a single idea to a completed contract, the acquisition process follows a life cycle. It begins with a need, it relies on a team, and it ends with delivery or performance. Not quite the birth of the universe, but every acquisition has a beginning and an ending. And now you've seen the entire process, simplified, from cradle to grave. So thank you for watching the video in its entirety. And again, if you want to support the channel and you like content such as this, please remember to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss another acquisition pro tip.